Hi, it's Susan. I'm from Worldpeacefull, and I felt inspired yesterday to talk about conflict resolution today, as I heard rhetoric from both the Australian government and Turkish representatives, Turkish Prime Minister, in respect to the mass killing in New Zealand by an Australian citizen of Muslim people in a mosque. It's an incredibly sad situation, and I know on behalf of all Australians I'd be sending much love and peace to those in the Middle East, because I know that they've suffered intensely. But what we're dealing with here are power issues, and I'm just going to go still for a moment before I continue. What I feel is a great deal of pain. I also feel this sense of when you're in community, just like Christians are in community with each other, and if anything happens to a group of Christians, all the Christians see it as part of themselves. The same applies to those who are in the Islamic or Muslim religious belief system. They see each other as the one family. I understand that. For myself as a peacemaker, I see everyone as my family. My family includes everyone of all religions, all cultures, because I see myself in everyone. I became a peacemaker because I saw conflict from a young age, which I felt was unreasonable, where parties were bullying each other and they were not listening to one another. And I can remember sitting at the table whilst the conflict was going on and looking at the people and thinking, we can talk about this. Now, as a child, certainly the essence of what I was thinking at the time was not about diplomacy. It was about truly speaking honestly to hear one another, to place oneself in the shoes of that other. To, if I put it into a religious sort of framework, to sit in the mosque with that other, for that other to sit in the church with that other. Now, what they have in common is God, Allah. This higher power does not demarcate itself. It is the absolute origin of life itself, which goes beyond our planet. It's created the cosmos. How do I know that that is true? Because we didn't create it. Whatever label you wish to give to it, we live in a universe, multiverse, many universes that we did not create. So let's just agree on the basis that there is a higher power here that created all life, and that's where we share. This is where we can meet. I would say also to both groups, do you believe that God or Allah is love? Allah Akbar, God is great. Can we meet in a space of this higher power is love? Now, what would love do in a tragedy like this? It's funny, I can feel tears as I think of Adam and Turk, actually. I can feel tears because I didn't know about the beautiful words that were inscribed in the memorial by Adam and Turk directed at Australians when they suffered such enormous losses, far greater than the ANZACs. Turkish people suffered intensely. Australia celebrates ANZACs, but there are stories beyond the common narrative. There was a great deal of suffering on the ANZAC's part, and also the fact that they were on the front due to other powers positioning them. So there's many stories within this, but we tend to like to believe in our own narrative as if this is the only narrative. There's not. There's many narratives. And in fact, I think the coming together these days in respect of what happened to both the Turks and the Australians and New Zealanders is really a mutual understanding and to not repeat the past. Therefore, our way of communicating with one another has to be very sensitive. There are other players, as usual, in these situations, which both sovereign countries have to become deeply conscious of in how they de-escalate disputation, because there are voices who want to see more conflict with Islam, as we have seen in the Middle East. There are other interests involved here. But for those who state that they represent their people, the people want peace, definitely. People are not interested in conflicts that just escalate. We have to learn to live in peace together. We have to respect Islam. We have to respect Christianity. We have to respect Taoism. We have to respect Buddhism and all the other religious minorities. It's about respect, meaning it's not for me to tell anyone how they should worship what they see as this greater power, which I feel and experience as love. It is not my place to dictate to anybody. All I can do is live my own example and send love into the world and hope that it's heard. Now, the way that these two leaders communicated was not actually in a narrative seeking for the middle ground or peace with one another. I completely understand the pain from the perspective of Turkey. I completely understand. I can see why they would feel what they feel, for sure. But just consider there's more than just these few leaders involved. We've got peoples. The leaders must become the voice of peace to guide people wisely. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to talk about power, and I'm going to talk about the different ways of seeing power and empowerment. So I thought I'd start with, and I might just show you the book actually. It's called Everyone Can Win. What I see at international levels is I'm not hearing narratives of conflict resolution.